Hey everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and welcome to Friday Fun Live. This is a time where we just hang out. I get to show you some things and just connect with each other. It's a real fun community time. And just to let you know, I've had a really good week. It's been a weird week, but the temperatures have dropped here. It feels like it's wonderful. The heat has been turned on in the house. If you hear some ambient noise in the background, I'm sorry that I'm keeping the heat on. We've had temperatures in the 30s. Today, highs will be in the mid 60s. Just perfect weather, if you ask me. Um, the sun is shining. And as far as I know, there are no hurricanes on the horizon. So that's a good thing. And a really good news, I found out that I do get to go to Tampa in about a week and a half with my husband. So I'm really looking forward to that, to tagging along on his business trip. I have a lot of family in Tampa, Clearwater area, and other parts of Florida, South Florida as well. But I'm really looking forward to getting back to my home state in about a week and a half. And, I'll be in touch with you all and let you know what the plan will be for the lives during that time. I may be able to just go live outside. Who knows? Well, let me go ahead and jump into the chat. Um, let's see. There we go. It just went away for a second for some strange reason. Let me go ahead and see if I can bring my, let me get my computer organized here. There we go, in case I get any messages on the side. All right. Well, good morning, Linda, Brad's mom. Good to see you in the chat. She says, good morning, Bonnie, Hannah, Becky, and all my dear yearnings from a pleasant autumn day here in the sunny Southwest Chicago suburbs. Please, friends, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. Thank you for that reminder, Linda. You know, I always forget that. But waving right back at you, love to craft. I would just so love to get you all together sometime and just go out to lunch or do something. This would be so much fun to do in person. And Yvonne, so wonderful to see you in the chat, my dear. And Alana, good to see you too. And Susie Pops Creations says, hello, everyone. Can't wait for our visit today. And I Crochet Sonia West says, hi from Kentucky. Hello there, Sonia. One of my favorite states to visit. Of course, think about all the states are my favorite state to visit. Well, not all of them, but Kentucky is definitely on that list. And Shatika Woods Crocheting, let me wave him right back at you. She says, blessings and crocheting. Thank you so much. And Ekstrom, it's so great to have you in our chat. Says, quite chilly here in southern Sweden. Oh my goodness. Oh, I would love to visit Sweden. And speaking of countries far, far away, if my sister is watching, I want to say hi to you, Brenda. It was so great FaceTiming you a couple of times this week. Yo, that was like the coolest thing ever. My sister is on a ship somewhere in the Mediterranean, or she might have been in one of the other seas around there, maybe the Aeonian Sea. And we're FaceTiming in real time, and we could see each other and responding just like she's right across the street from me. Pretty amazing technology. Thank you, Elon Musk, for Starlink, because they are using Starlink now on the ships, and the reception is so much better than what I remember even from 2 years ago. So it was just really great to get in touch. And thank you all for those of you who are praying for my sister Brenda. She's having a wonderful time. Really enjoying the food, probably a little too much, but but that's just what you do, I guess, when you're on a ship. But really enjoying seeing a lot of ancient lands and beautiful places in Greece. And she's now been in Turkey for a few days. So really enjoying the time there. Again, one of these once in a lifetime things. And we have Sandra. Hey, Sandra, good to have you here from Southern California. And Donna. She says, how are you, sis? Bonnie and your family, peace be to you. Thank you so much, Donna. Yes, doing well. You know, family life is wonderful. Always a challenge. There's always something to trust the Lord for. And we are definitely no different. But yeah, good. And Cindy says, hi, I'm a beginner compared to you guys, but I just love crocheting. Cindy, we were all beginners at one point. You are so welcome here. And if I hope you're finding lots of beginner stuff on my channel. I do have a lot of beginner stuff. I do kind of major on the cabling and all, but I'm all about the beginners as well. In fact, I'll be teaching a beginner class that my neighbor is going to be hosting, I think, the first of the year. So, love, love, love beginners, because without beginners, we don't get intermediates or anybody else in this craft. So we just love learning from each other, Cindy. I'm so glad you're here. And Kim, welcome. Good morning to you. And Stephanie, she says, I hope everyone is having a great day. Yes, ma'am. And Rita says hi to everyone. Perfect autumn day in South New Jersey. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Rita. Yeah, I'm going to have to get outside in a little bit because it looks really nice out there and it's not too windy. We had some really windy days a couple days ago. I thought the trees were going to blow over in my yard, but um, just they just have fewer leaves now. And I crochet Sonia. Hey, good to see you in here again. And Carol G from the Crypt says good morning, tuning in from Northern California. In case you all have noticed, you probably have noticed, Hannah is not officially in the chat, so I'm kind of on my own. Becky may come in here and there. She's kind of on the road, but she may be able to come help us in just a bit. But just wanted to let you know, Hannah says hi. She's going to miss you all. She is serving Grandma Barker heroically, taking her to doctor's appointments and whatever Grandma Barker needs to do this morning. So she says she regrets she can't be with you all. I know you all are a great encouragement to her, and I know she's a really great encouragement to you guys. But we're kind of flying with one wing today. But I think we can maybe get through. So if you see anything, let me just say it right off. If you see anything inappropriate in the chat, feel free to flag it. Okay, so feel free to flag it for YouTube in case I don't get to it before you all do. You probably will see it before I do. But that's Hannah's main job, is to just make sure that the chat stays uplifting and positive and not, not evil in any way. And yes, we have had that in the past. Thankful that it has not been a problem as of late. And Dorothy, so glad to see you. She says she's joining us. She says, joining us from a nice cool day in Macomb, Mississippi. And we have Joni. Good to have you with us. And Stephanie adds, I just wanted to add a reminder that last week we did a donation, but there wasn't enough. So if anyone can donate today, maybe we can get enough for donations today. Oh, thank you, Stephanie, for that reminder. Yeah, we do have this. It's kind of an ongoing thing with my channel. But thank you for that reminder. And also just to remind you all that you don't have to come through me if you feel, like, it's laid on your heart to give, in regards, to whatever the cause may be. But particularly as of late, we've had the heart has been heavy with the people in Western North Carolina from Hurricane Helene, and also Hurricane Milton hit Florida recently. So if you know of needs there, please feel free to go straight to those organizations that you trust. But if you do want to donate here, that's fine. I don't like to solicit that directly, but some people just like to do that, and that's fine. And then I will match that 100%. And just to let you know, it will be going to the Samaritan's Purse organization, which is actually based in Boone, North Carolina, near where a lot of the damage from Hurricane Helene happened. So that will be the designated place for our donations, just for a while longer, because I know that situation is not going to go away in a day or two, or even a year or two. But we do want to be faithful where we can. But again, never, ever, ever feel any pressure from me. But thank you for that reminder, Stephanie. That was really sweet of you. And we have Karen. Good morning, Karen. And Lynn, I was just praying for you this morning, praying for you and your sister and the situation there, praying for justice. Thank you for just being so faithful and encouraging to this group here. She says, thank the Lord for you, Sister Bonnie, and everyone. Thanking the Lord. And the comments just went up. for the new mind of knowing I need him and can call upon him anytime. Amen. That goes for all of us, I think. Um, thank you. You're so sweet, Lynn. You are so kind. Um, and we have Barbara or Barbie has a question here. What yarn lasts longest in slippers? Oh, what a great question. And as soon as you asked me that question, immediately my mind thought of my mom, who used to wear these granny squared crocheted slippers that her friend in Florida, both of them have gone to be with the Lord at this point in time. I miss them. But her friend Shirley used to always make these. She used to make things for everybody and give them away. And she used to make hers out of acrylic yarn. And while they did last a long time, they did take a lot of heavy wear. So I think as far as them lasting and wearing, I would recommend something like the cotton. Um, the cotton that you use for dishcloths. I know that's not real stretchy. It may not be as comfortable at first until it's washed a few times, but I think that may last longer because I have the thing I'm comparing it to is I have cotton dishcloths that my daughter made for me more than I want to say 20 years ago. And I know I have some that are at least 20 years old in my drawer where I use things. They don't look pretty, but they last. I mean, the fiber, I think of the cotton, do I have any? No, I don't have any handy. Of course, it's way in the other room I organize, so I don't have all this stuff sitting around. But just the regular peaches and cream type of cotton, I'm guessing, I would put bet I would bet that that would be the one yarn that would outlast any of the others. Um, Now, whether it would be the most comfortable to wear on the feet, it definitely it's not gonna be the warmest because it's cotton and breathable. But, if you're looking for durability, I would put my bet on the dishcloth. It's a worsted weight kind of cotton. That's where I would bet. I don't bet, but if I did, that's where I would put my money, I think. Um, and Stephanie says, "Go Elon Musk with that Starlink." Oh yes, yes. I tell you what, just what, love him or hate him. I mean, hopefully nobody hates anybody, but he just with that Starlink alone, yeah, it's just made communication so much better. And part of the goal with that was to bring communication to places that were extremely remote, to help them have better lives. And that was partly the goal. And just seeing that it's being used in recovery efforts in North Carolina. And he donated a lot of receivers to a lot of places, like like hundreds of them. And yeah, and it's helping to facilitate rescuing people and in major communication and a relief effort. So yeah, it's a huge gift. A type of communication that we really never used to have and can operate without infrastructure. So it's a pretty amazing thing. And incidentally, okay, we are rocket fans here. Just in case you're new to the chat, I have one of my children was able to get his pilot's license during the pandemic. Have always been a fan of aviation, general aviation in particular, and had dreamed of flying. I don't know that I will ever do that. Don't know that my eyes are good enough, but we've always been very interested in that. I'm married to a man who's very interested in rocket science and, we love stuff like that. So in case you haven't seen it, if you've been living in a hole somewhere, you need to look up a Starship, the fifth launch that happened this past Sunday morning at about 8:30 a.m. because we were watching this. Actually, my husband was driving the truck for our church for setup. We are a church plant where we attend worship, so we have to haul everything in this long 24-foot trailer that people take turns on serving to drive this. It was my husband's turn to drive the truck, so he's like, "Oh, I really wanted to watch the launch." So here we are on the way to get the truck, and we have the cell phone on watching the launch. And so we're driving along and that up it launched, so we pulled over to the side of the road and we're watching the launch, as well as the rocket booster. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but you need to look at it and see what happened this week. It's the first time that I mean, this should have been all over the news, but I know it wasn't. I know a lot of this rocket stuff is just passe, happens so much now that people just don't think much about it. Where, I remember being in elementary school whenever there was a rocket launch or somebody walking on the move or riding on the moon or whatever, they would bring in a black and white television set and we would get to watch it as part of our class. So we grew up in the Rocket Man age of, the moon shots and everything. And that was a really, really big deal. And so this is a kind of a really, really big deal too, but it's just not, it just kind of gets lost with just the glut of information that's out there and available now. But if you get a chance to watch that, just you can fast forward through the different stages of it, but you have to watch them catch. Spoiler alert, they do catch their booster, but it's the first time that's ever been done. So basically, this thing that's about 19 stories tall, it's over 300 feet tall, launches this rocket into orbit, or not into orbit. It's actually into space, but technically not into orbit because that's a whole different thing. But and then they separate. They do something called the hot separation, which is new. So the rocket ship continues on, and this booster, which is very tall, the entire setup with the Starship and the booster is taller than the Saturn V rocket that did the moon shot, if that gives you a reference point. But anyway, they have this place. The launch pad has these big arm things. They call it Mechazilla, kind of a funny name, or they sometimes call it the chopsticks. But basically, the goal was with these big mechanical arms is to catch this booster rocket when it comes back to Earth instead of just wasting it in the ocean or just, having it just be a piece of garbage somewhere. Their goal is to reuse it and, again and again and do it rapidly. So anyway, this thing is coming back at, a huge speed. By the time you see it, it's still going twice the speed of sound. You hear a sonic boom, and then the thing slows itself down with the rockets, and then the arms, they catch it with just incredible precision. So you need to see that, even if you're not a rocket person. Okay, so anyway, sorry, I got a little excited about that, but been thinking about that all week. It's just been such an amazing accomplishment. And I am going to relate it to crochet. I'm going to relate all that rocket stuff to cables. Cable crocheting is not rocket science. But one thing that I remember hearing Elon say in an interview when asked, how is it you can do all this stuff? And his answer was, I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid of mistakes. I'm not afraid to fail. And I thought, that's brilliant. And we have seen launches. This is the 5th launch. We saw the first launch, which the goal was to get it to clear the launch pad, which it did. They didn't know if this rocket would fly. But what happened, they did not accomplish all their goals on that flight. In fact, the thing was up in the air and it kind of blew up. So people would look at that and say, oh, it was a major fail. And it's like, well, no, we just learned one way of how, like Edison, when he created the light bulb, he said, I just learned whatever the number was, 199 ways of how not to make a light bulb. That's all. So what I really want to say in all that is let's apply that to our crafting, especially the beginner, who I'm so glad that you're in our chat today. Let's apply that to what we do. So many people, I do get some kind of, to use a not so great word, but kind of get some, once in a while, you get kind of a snotty comment on YouTube, on my channel. I got one yesterday, and I usually leave them sometimes, but this one was so snotty. I decided that I'm taking it off because I felt like that it wouldn't benefit anybody else to see what they had to say. If their comment was constructive criticism that I needed to hear, and that maybe we all need to hear, I will gladly leave it. But if it's just a swipe at you, a swipe at someone just to swipe at you, it's like we don't have time for that. And I don't want you to waste your time reading nonsensical things like that. But I got the feeling that this person left that because she felt like I should be able to accomplish this the first time. I should be able to read the instructions, watch the video, and then perfectly accomplish the task. Well, hello, life is not like that. Life is full of mistakes, but it's what you do with the mistakes that makes life good. So you can learn. We all learn from our mistakes. I mean, hopefully the mistakes are not real big and, anyway, this is just yarn. That's why I tell people this is just yarn. And be willing to fail. If you're willing to fail and try again and try again and try again, you will accomplish your task and you will get better. Um, yeah. So anyway, just really, really excited about this. But I did want to relate the rocket science to yarn. They can be relatable. All right. Especially if, like I say, especially with all those, and there's not a lot of negative comments. And I do leave most of them up there. But if the ones that don't benefit the heart and soul and are going to tear down everybody that reads it, they've got to go. All right. So thanks for understanding that. Oh, Beth, so good to have you in the chat. I hope your dad is doing well. And she says hi from me and Terry. Tell Terry I said hey, to give the kitties a scratch on the head from me. Okay. I would do it if I were there. And Carol, good to have you with us this morning. Says Carol Beth from Oregon. So glad to have you, Carol Beth. And Freaky Geeks, good to have you in the chat. And Ola Joe, always great to see you. I love your posts. They're so creative. She says, getting ready for an appointment. Have a great day. Oh, so we must have missed her. Oh, well. And Brenda, hey, she did make it in. Says, hello and good evening from Ephesus. So glad I'm able to pop in and say hello. Hello. We are so glad that you're having such a great time, Brenda. And yeah, she got to walk the streets of Ephesus earlier today because they are 7 hours ahead of us. So if you're familiar with the New Testament writing, the Apostle Paul wrote letter to the Ephesians. Well, that's where she is right now, near Ephesus, and got to walk the same streets in the same place, sit in the same amphitheater where Paul almost got stoned because people were turning away from idolatry, and it was killing the idol business in town, which was bad for business. So they wanted to take care of that and get rid of him and his message. But we all know that Paul's message has survived, and we get to read his letter. So just a wonderful experience for my sister. Thank you for the thumbs up, Ola Joe. And Carmen joins us from Mexico. Buenos dias, amigo. I'm so glad you could join us. I love your country. Been there a couple times. Has fond memories of that. Oh, thank you for your greeting to Hannah, Ola Joe. I'll have to pass that on to her since she's not here today. And Freaky Geek says to Barbara, banana skin yarn? Just kidding. That's a good question. If you're looking, at man-made yarns, I think rayon, but I can't touch that stuff myself. Yeah. That's a good idea, Freaky Geek. But yeah, I'm not even sure that rayon would, I'm not sure how that would hold up either. All right. And oh, thank you, Lynn. Says we miss Hannah. Yeah, she always makes the group chat so much more welcoming. As you wait for me to get to your comments. All right. So where did I leave off? Oh, here we go. Thank you, Freaky Geek. Yeah, don't worry about the spelling. And we know that, that autocorrect is out to get us all at some point in time, usually on a daily basis here. But yeah. And Johnny Simmons Johnson. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And yes, as she says, an amen to your comment regarding the Lord. Absolutely. And Patricia says, hi, Bonnie and group visiting my daughter in Vermont, finally in the same time zone as you. Yay. You are there at an amazing time too, because you get to see all the leaves change. We're still waiting. It's just starting here. Some of my trees in the back have lost a lot of leaves, but the real colorful displays are still not quite there yet. So I'm guessing they're close to peak in Vermont at this time, depending on the weather you guys have gotten up there. So I'm hoping you're really enjoying that, Patricia. Um, and Cynthia, hello to you. Um, and Sabina says, hello, Bonnie, lovely to see you. Autumn is really rolling here in Germany. The colors are beautiful at the moment and inspire my color palette. Oh, how wonderful. Yeah, you have an amazing country there too. And, you know, near the Alps and all of that beautiful, beautiful colors there. And Stephanie says, having faith is so tough at times when everything you do, every turn you take just pushes you back. However, I still pray and hope for the best. Yep, I agree with that, Stephanie. Yes, it is. It is. And that's what's funny about becoming a Christian. I was not a Christian growing up, or at least not really. Um, not in a way that could be understood, not where you walk your talk, because I didn't understand. Um, but yeah, there's this idea that once you become a believer and walk by faith, that life just gets easy all of a sudden. Actually, it's just the opposite. It's like that's when you will be opposed, not just by the enemy unseen, but even the culture at large, does not like that. Um, so yeah, that it's funny because I have a ringtone. You're gonna laugh and think this is ridiculous, but one of my favorite songs to help me stay in the fight is the theme from Rocky. Da, 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 that song. And I got my ringtone set to that. And I know it bugs people to hear it again and again, but every time I hear that, I just take it to cue. That's okay. Just stay in the fight, keep fighting, stay in the fight. Um, it's worth it. I may not feel it. I definitely don't feel it. I did not feel it this week at all. Just feeling kind of bleh, but not physically, but just, up here, just kind of more melancholy than I prefer. But that ringtone helps me. And I've told my kids, when I go to be home with the Lord, there's a version of that song that I want played at my funeral. I know that sounds crazy. It's not the one with the singing. There's an all brass version of this. It's the entrance version. It's absolutely beautiful. Has a very classical feel to it, but it's just wonderful. I want to be reminded, and I just want to remind folks just to keep in the fight. Oh my goodness, Heather, thank you so much for that very generous donation. Let me write this down so I can check where we are. Okay. So that brings us up to $70. Thank you so much, Heather. That is extremely generous of you. My goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so we're at $70 now, which means we're $30 from the 100. And once we hit 100, I will double that to 200 to make 100% matching. Needed a break there. Ooh, that is a good idea. Ola Joe, the crocheting sailor, getting back to the idea, what kind of answering Freaky Geek's question about the yarn for slippers that won't wear out. She said, I would say t-shirt yarn for the slippers, have used it for them. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. If you can find the t-shirt yarn, I know Lion Brand has some of that, and you may be able to find it, at a local craft store. But yeah, definitely check that out. It might be a little bulkier, but yeah, I think they would definitely be more comfortable too. Yeah, Freaky Geek says, how long do they last compared to other yarns? Yeah, that might just be an experiment you're going to have to try and then get back to us and let us know. That might be a good idea for a video. Wow. So Denise says, "Hi everyone, lurking while working." Hope you are doing well. Hope you are doing well too, Denise. Um, and Freaky Geek says somebody here in Canada got um, Starlink, and they said it's no better than local service. Hope they are the exception with bad reception. Well, actually, Freaky Geek, it really depends. As far as local service goes, I mean, if you have a cable in ground, that's almost always going to be better than satellite service because there's going to be some lag. But I was on Starlink with my sister Brenda, and there was no lag. It was very strong. So again, a lot of that is dependent on positions of the satellites. But where Starlink shines best is where there is no infrastructure, where there are no other companies, and there are many third world nations that could really benefit from a communication system. But as you can imagine, digging holes and putting cables in the ground. I mean, in South Carolina, where Hannah is, we're still waiting on FiOS. On the faster internet cable. It's very slow from there. And when I do uploads and things from the system that's available down there, where the house is, it's about a tenth as fast as what we have here in Maryland. So yeah, I don't think it's going to compare to rapid, fast in ground optical cable, but again, where you have nothing, it's fantastic because it gives you something which beats nothing. So I think that's the advantage of that. And I think in time, as they launch more and more satellites, that will improve. It has improved a lot. Yeah, she said, okay, said, oh, neat, that kind of rhyme. Yeah, it did. Very cool. She says, Starship Troopers. Hmm. Yeah, these are on, as you know, unmanned rocket launches right now. So yeah, although they do have another rocket system that does take people. Talking again about SpaceX, they do have a ship that takes people to the International Space Station. And yeah, even yeah, long. I can talk about that, and I probably need to get back to yarn here. Um, Stephanie says, what I did see was what I thought was a falling star, and then I saw another, and then a third one. So I don't know what that was. I know that there was a comet. You could have seen it last night on the horizon. If you were in a place that didn't have as much light pollution, city lights around. My husband and I were looking for that last night, but we didn't see it. It was, I think, closest last night. He knows all that space weather kind of stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it was the comet that was visible. And Freaky Geek says this was the rocket that was caught in arms in the landing. Yeah, yep, that's the one. They call it kind of the arms that, like I said, they call them the chopsticks or Mechazilla. Just kind of having fun with it. Um, and Barbara says that was a fantastic launch. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, when they caught that, I told my husband beforehand. I said, I bet they're going to try to catch it. And then when we heard, we were driving along, trying not to be late. So we were part of the setup team at church early in the morning, and then we heard the command, they're going to go for the catch, and we're like, oh my gosh, and we were like trying not to get too excited. I mean, we were just about crying with excitement after they caught this thing. I mean, that was like, it wasn't quite like watching man take the first step on the moon, but close. I mean, it was on par with something like that. It was like, wow. And my husband is a physicist and knows a lot about the science and understands the complications that had to be worked out in order for that to happen, and just for them to be able to do that on the first try was pretty incredible. Yeah. um and Ola Joe's getting back to the yarn, says to Freaky Geek, it's a better lasting look than the t-shirt yarn, than the acrylic yarn. Yeah, the acrylic yarn is not going to last long. I mean, if you just take two acrylic yarn samples, I don't recommend you do this, but if you take them and you rub them together like this, like you would a pair of mitts, you know, it well, you do that with any fiber really. If you do it a lot, it's going to fray. It's not going to hold up much. Um, the yarns that will hold up are the ones that have a much tighter weave or much tighter twist. Um, yeah. All right. That could be a whole nother video too, talking about yarns, how they hold up or don't hold up. Um, hey, we have Wanda in the chat today. Good morning. I just got on, but I think nylon in the yarn would make slippers last longer. Yeah, that could be it too. Maybe some Irish wool and nylon or Irish wool. I mean, I could give you some Irish wool to try that came right from Ireland. I mean, this is the stuff you make rugs out of, but I will tell you this, you will not want this on your bare feet. That's why I didn't recommend that. The kind of wool that they make rugs out of. I mean, I know that will last a long, long time. It's just not going to feel real good on your feet. So yeah, but something with nylon in it, like there are some baby yarns that are acrylic with some nylon. And if you get yarns like that, don't ever try to break it with your hands because it will cut your skin. How do I know? I've tried it. If it has nylon in it, you get your scissors out and you cut it. Don't try to break it because it's very strong. It's not breakable. Yeah, that's true. Nylon is a very good thing to try as well. Or nylon, like sock yarn. You could even try sock yarn. Like some of the yarn I showed you last week. This nice and soft, it's merino wool, but it's also 15% nylon. Because a lot of people, if they make socks, that's exactly what it's made for. So yeah, that's also a possibility. All right. And yep, I like your comment there, Lynn. Very good. And Stephanie says, I love to see the excitement in your voice and conversation. I was doing that to my daughter when I watched. She wasn't as enthusiastic. That's okay. You have to know some things about yarn to be enthusiastic, right? Freaky Geek says, seeing the launch in person has to be so much more exciting than watching on YouTube. I agree. I hope to get out there sometime to see that. As you all know, many of you know, I was a homeschool mom for about 20 years, 19 to 20 years, depending on how you count the years. And one of my absolute favorite field trips that we did, and this was during the years when we would have to regularly travel from the Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C., and we would drive all 5 kids all the way down to South Florida in Hialeah, where my parents live. And of course, taking I-95 just about all the way down. Um, it's a lot of driving. It's a long trip. But a couple of times we tried to stop to see a launch. We tried to schedule our travel so that it was when they were doing a launch from Cape Canaveral. And we did get to see, as a family, it's a very special time. We got to see one of the space shuttles launch. It was a space shuttle Endeavour, and it was incredible. Yeah, it was. You don't forget something like that when you see it live. Of course, we were still a couple of miles from where they launched it, but it was just amazing to see it. And then about 3-4 seconds later, you actually hear the sound. And I remember that it set all. I mean, in that particular launch would not have been as loud or as big as the Starship, which has 33 Raptor engines. I mean, an amazing assortment of engines underneath that thing. This would have been a smaller launch, but still very, very significant to see the space shuttle go up. It set all the car alarms off where we were, and we were 3 miles away, but the sound, the force of the sound wave just set everything off, and it was funny. It was great. Um, Definitely a lasting memory. It was a very successful launch, thankfully. But anyway, yeah, seeing something like that is truly wonderful. Um, especially when it goes right. Yeah. Um, yes, Freaky Geek says boogers in chat will get messy. Best to remove those posts. Yep, absolutely. Definitely. That's a good way to put it. And Jody says, "Hello, all. God has given us a wonderful day, and I'm truly enjoying it." That's wonderful, wonderful, Jody. And she says, "Some yarns are just long, drawn out stories." Yep, 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 yep. Get that. Um, all right. I just got a bunch of things load, and I don't want to miss out. Well, let me see. Let me just tell you some newsy things here. Don't really have a lot new for you. I'm still open. I'm still open for suggestions on the next watch class. For you watch subscribers, I'm thinking of doing a class on multiple ways to crochet ribbing. So if you could weigh in on that with me, I would appreciate that. Any of you have ideas for classes you'd like to see, something that would like to see on that? This would be for a live Zoom class. Please let me know. I am open to new ideas. I'm always looking for new ideas. Um, and just to let you all know, the Colossae cabled cardigan, do I have that sweater here? I do have it right here. This is up on my channel in case you all are new. This can be crocheted both as a vest. Let me show you the back because you can see the cabling better with the lighter colored. You can crochet this as a vest or as a cardigan. And I've really enjoyed wearing this. This is nice and warm. You can crochet it, as a button down cardigan with sleeves. The main difference is, of course, the cardigan has sleeves, the vest does not. So all three videos are up for right-handers and left-handers. And just to let you know, I don't know if you can see my shirt. I don't have all 11 languages on here, but we do have 11 additional languages in the closed captions. If you want to assess them, or if you have, a friend that may only speak French or only speak Spanish or Turkish or Persian, we have those too. Let them know. You have to hit the little gear-shaped icon, and then it'll bring up a menu, and if you can click on closed captions, and then you can select your language from there. And these closed captions have been edited for correct English before being translated. So hopefully, it's not as AI as some of the translations can be. And of course, this past week, the Christmas cable cardigan, I'm sorry, the Christmas cable throw is now available on YouTube. It's also available on my watch channel. And if you're a watch subscriber, you know that the written pattern is complimentary. So if you are not a watch member, not a problem at all. I do have the pattern for sale both in the Etsy store and in my Lovecraft stores and in my Lovecraft store. And the links should be in the video description there below. So you can, take a look at that. And of course, you can take a look at the video and get some um, better glimpses of that on there. All right. Let me get back to the chat here. Goodness, I'm sorry. I am way behind here, but give me a minute. Okay, I found where I was. And Stephanie says, I leave comments, but not in an ugly way. Please don't ever take my comments as something other than that. Maybe she was just frustrated. I can see that, but I agree it could be handled differently. Oh no, don't worry, Stephanie. I don't do that regularly. I don't take all negative comments down. I don't, but this person was criticizing even my voice, was criticizing everything about me, as well as, telling me how horrible everything was recorded. And it's just like, you know what? Um, you need to go. So I just showed her the door. Yeah, yeah, it was just it was not, it was not it's one of those people. I probably have given her too much time in my head already. And I just don't need none of us need that kind of negativity. I mean, if it's a sometimes people have pointed out, issues or whatever, and I try to respond and correct because I know I'm not perfect. I'll be the first person to say, there's only one person who was perfect, and we worship him every Sunday, and we anyway. um yeah, so I know I am so aware of how far I fall from perfection. I'm not even trying that, but I am trying to do well. But occasionally we all make mistakes, and sometimes my mistakes get put in film and on YouTube, and I try to address that, and I respond as quickly as I can. So yeah, I definitely, I want to be open. Criticism of any kind, as you know, is not easy to take. But trusting the Lord in this, and constructive criticism can make us all better. And I'm for that. And I want to try to listen to that as much as I can. Although I'll admit it's not easy, but sometimes I need that, because the corrections and, learning from mistakes, like we say, you have to be willing to fail, um, to to do something, to get better, to accomplish something, and I am willing to fail. You can look at my early, videos from, like, 8, 10 years ago, and, I was just getting started, just learning. Alright. All right, and Brat's mom says that nasty person is just jealous. I practice on old junky yarn until I understand a new to me technique. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm actually going to be starting on something very soon, and I have this fuzzy alpaca yarn that's like working with mohair. And there's no way I'm going to try the technique out on the mohair. I am going to try it out on, like you say, leftover yarn that really doesn't matter to me anymore, and then I will go to the real good stuff, because I know if I start working with it on this, very, mohair-like yarn, it's not coming back out. So, yeah. Um, yeah, Stephanie, Freaky Geek says to Stephanie, "If you meant frogging, I consider that more practice for the stitching." But you know what? If you have really good yarn, like if you have, some of the yarn that I showed you with the nylon in it, I mean, you could crochet and rip out that several times, and it'll take it because of the nylon. It can handle that. Oh, Lynn, you're so sweet. She says, "I have two surprises for you. One is complete. The second one I hope to be done before November." Oh, you're so sweet, Lynn. Such a giving family. And Jesus Joy 7 says, "Good morning, Bonnie and Yarny community. I pray you're doing well. I just got out of the hospital with cellulitis. Ooh, but God is so good." Wow. I hope that gets better. That's infection of the skin, right? That can be quite serious. I um been praying for you for your other surgery that you had. I'm hoping that that's recovered, but I can definitely be thinking about you on this one. Hope that, recovers quickly. And Wanda says, "I recently got back from ladies conference, have given a few more prayer shawls out. Prayers appreciated. I start radiation for breast cancer October 29th." Oh, Wanda, let me write that down. Uh, that's not good. You let me know how I can help you, okay, Wanda? Um, you know my email. And then M, is it Al Sheikh, if I'm saying that right? Hi from Egypt. Thanks a lot for your tutorials and the time you invest to learn, okay, to teach others. Yeah. I am working on a shawl for intermediate from your channel, and your life inspires me to keep trying to compete. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. Yeah, oh, wow. I would love to go visit your country sometime. My sister almost went to Egypt, but they canceled it for some reason. I think just it's not a good time, but I so hope to visit you guys sometime. Um, And Heather, good to have you with us. This is joining late. Hope all are having a blessed day. Yes, indeed. And good to have you with us, Rebecca. What a great name. Um, my oldest daughter is named Rebecca. And well, we call her Becky, but yeah, I love that name. That was the name of my best friend. And Rita says, if you don't mind having chunky slippers, rug yarn works great. Is machine washable, but not as soft as cotton. Yeah, yeah, that would be like akin to that Irish wool that I was talking about. It's definitely kind of on the rug uh, category. And Jet One N says, "Hi, Bonnie. So good to see you. I love your Friday lives. Oh, thank you for being here." And Heather, again, thank you so much for that extremely generous donation. Um, and Stephanie says, "My favorite song is from Chris Tomlin. How great is our God?" Oh yeah, what a great song. What a good guy too. Really great worship leader. And Freaky Geek says, "Nice super sticker." Yes. And Jet One says, okay, I already read that one. That must be a repeat. It says, "I have been loving your watch channel so much value on there and amazing content. I'll be a member for life." Oh, I hope I can keep it up there as long as you need it there. And for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to give a little quick spiel about it. The watch channel is a paid subscriber based channel. Much of the content that's on my YouTube channel is also there. Plus, there's a lot more. There are many exclusive designs that are there that don't appear on my public channel. Um, there are a lot of PDF downloads that you can just download complimentary instead of having to buy them from an online store. But those of you who do the online store things, I so appreciate your support there as well. It's just a different way of doing it. All of the videos are commercial free, they're ad free. Nobody is going to track you on what you're watching and then give you commercials in your other online things because of that. Because this is kind of like a private viewing place. You also get to participate in live Zoom classes. I'm trying to have those every month, and yeah, at no extra charge. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please check it out. You can look at all the content that's on there. You just can't watch it, if that makes sense. You can see all the thumbnails of all the content. And if you ever have any questions, just contact me, bonniebay@me.com. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. And that'll get you to me. If you have questions, let me say this too. If you have questions about the watch channel and you're a watch member, don't don't contact Vimeo. Contact me, bonniebay@me.com. It's so much faster. We can resolve any issues you may have or just answer your questions, very quickly. I try to prioritize you all over, other questions that come in. I get questions just all the time, but which I'm very thankful for. But I just try to prioritize you all because yeah, just because of your continual support. And we have Sherry in our chat says, "Good midday, everybody. Good to have you here, Sherry." And Sharon says, "Good afternoon, Bonnie. I love to be on live. I love music. It is very therapeutic. My favorite song, okay, right now, come Come Jesus Come by CC Winans. Very assuring." Well, I have to listen to that. I haven't heard the Winans in a while, but yeah, I remember that group very much. And Ola Joe says, "Big Twist has t-shirt yarn and wool in the gang." I did a review on the yarn in comparison too. Yeah, if you all are looking for that, look at Ola Joe, the Crocheting Sailor. She does have a YouTube channel and look for that review. That would be a great thing to do, Freaky Geek. So you can check that out. And Cindy says, "I have some tiny yarn for a 1.5 needle and I'm having a hard time," it's just boredom, "trying to make things with it. Do you have any ideas for this type of yarn besides little critters?" Actually, I do. I've been working with some things. I really can't talk about it right now because I haven't fully developed it yet. Um, but that's a very small hook. Um, I would look into there I would look into maybe doilies or something like that. There is an author, she's well known for her amazing doilies, Patricia Christopherson, I think is her name, and you can look her up. You can find a lot of her books online, and she has the absolute best, I think, best I've ever seen. My daughter even made a couple of her doilies, and they have surface texture as well. And my daughter ended up with a champion ribbon out of county fair many years ago using one of her designs. So I would definitely check out, Patricia Christopherson's um, doilies. She's the master when it comes to that. I don't crochet with tiny things very often. And yeah, and Freaky Geek says this location, I guess in regards to the Starlink again, was in a wooded area, so trees might have blocked some of the reception. Good to know. You know what, Freaky Geek? Yes. For years when I was homeschooling my kids, this was before the internet became a really big thing. We actually used to get some instruction from an organization, and we had to have a satellite dish to receive the instruction, and then we would record it. And if we had really thick clouds, that would also disrupt the satellite. We used to have direct TV years ago, and the clouds would actually disrupt the signal too. So trees or clouds, yeah, it has to be where it's not being disrupted by that. Yeah, that could have been it. Yeah, satellite is great, but it can't be better than fiber optic, in-ground fiber optic. At least not yet. Um, and and Stephanie says Starlink is better than the fiber I had previously. Wow, we might have the same fiber. My mother-in-law has it's like snail's pace. They need to get with it. HGTC. But anyway, or yeah, whatever. Anyway, and the bee lady apiary says I have been gone, had a tumor removed from my stomach suddenly. No idea I had it until began to hemorrhage. Oh my goodness, that's awful. I'm glad you're back. It's kind of funny you mentioned the bee lady. I just put I just put 3 big, I don't even know if they were teaspoons. They were heaping spoonfuls of honey in my tea today, and it's been great. Throat is so much better than it has been the last few times, and I think the hot tea with the honey is the thing to do. Um, so glad to have, oh, yes. So she says, glad to be back. We are so glad to have you back. My goodness. I hope you're healing well, because I know I've had abdominal surgery about 6 times in my life, and it's not for the faint of heart. So I'm hoping you're healing okay, and take your time to heal. Don't try to be the woman like we all can be and try to do everything too soon. Take it easy and heal up, okay? That's a huge surgery. And she says, I will be sending some pictures of items I've crocheted later today. Had to gather them together. I would love to see them. And thank you all again for those of you who send in photos. You are my best social media post ever, because just by you proving that you can do this, it just helps others to be envisioned, to think, well, I can do it too, maybe. So that's what I'm so thankful when you all send me your pictures, and I do try to share them faithfully. I try to keep up with them and try not to lose them, and try to be fair about that. But I always ask permission. So if you send them in, if you just want to give me permission from the onset, that would be great. I so appreciate that, because the last thing I want to do is share a picture or something that's a special gift for somebody, and then, it kind of ruins the surprise. I don't want to do that. Uh, and yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah. But that stomach problem. Wow. Um, Yeah, thank you for encouraging her, Freaky Geek. That is so kind of you. Um, yeah, says I'm in the same. I'm the same, not bad, but working on it. Yep. All right. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's already 1 o'clock. Um, well, let me go ahead and tell you about one or two other things. I just wanted to be sure to tell you that Friday, that's a week. No, 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 no. Saturday, a week from tomorrow, will be the Frederick Fiber Festival. This is in Frederick, Maryland, at the fairgrounds, downtown at the fairgrounds. Um, I'm going to have most of my books available on upon if you want me to sign the books, I'll be happy to sign them for you right then and there. I'm going to have some designer samples available for sale, and I'm hoping to donate a lot of the proceeds from the sale of those items, of the samples, to North Carolina. So and the vendor list is officially 125 vendors. That's a lot of vendors. That is a significant fiber festival. So if you are able to make it, if you're in the Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC, Pennsylvania, Delaware, I mean, it's not a bad drive. It's really a really nice drive. Out on 70, you can get there pretty quickly. And it's going to start at 9 a.m. and it'll go till 4 p.m. just one day. And I have some little perks for you guys. If you come by, stop by, and just say, I watch you on YouTube or I follow you on Facebook, whatever, I want to give you one of these. Okay. This is just a little booklet, has some stickies in it, a pen, a notepad so you can write down your ideas, or Christmas list, grocery list, yarn requirement list when you're out shopping. I don't know. But let me know. You just come up and say, I'll watch your channel. Give me my book. I will be glad to hand you one of these. Otherwise, these are going to be on sale for $5 for those who don't know what Bonnie Bay Crochet is. And if people, make a purchase of $50 or more, I'm going to throw one of these in. But for you guys who know and are part of our community, they are a gift from me to you. I'm also going to have some little tape measures and things available. So yeah, definitely want to stop by and check it out. Um, yeah, and also just to give you a quick review, I have a lot of older designs on my channel that sometimes, waiting for the next new thing out, you you don't you don't see what's already there. So I wanted to show you just a quick couple of my favorite things. Um, Wandering Cables poncho is available. This was released last year, but this is up on my site if you're looking for a nice poncho. I made this with 100% baby alpaca. If you don't have alpaca, this works out fine with Red Heart Super Saver or any other kind of yarn. It just won't feel like alpaca. And here's another one. Um, I forget what the names of these are, but this is actually a beginner friendly poncho, and this is on my channel. There is a playlist. If you go to my playlist and you can look up ponchos and stoles, and all of these and dozens more are on the list. And this was released just last year. This is on the book cover of this book right here, Celtic Cable Crochet, the Lavina poncho. This is also on my channel and ready to go. And pattern information for all of these is located in the video description. And I'm trying to be better than I used to be years ago, because you guys have told me you need to do this. And okay, I learned from that. So I try to put the yarn requirements in the video description as well so that you can take a look at that. And here's a couple more of my favorites. These are longer scarves, wider scarves. This is Rahab's scarf, and this is with three hanks of sock weight yarn, and I used Created for You by Laura. All that information in the video description. Again, look for scarves, look for that playlist, and you'll see this there. And you'll remember this one from the spring, I believe. This is the directionally challenged, one of my few Granny Square designs, the directionally challenged scarf. And it has some nice fringe there. I love fringe. So that is there as well. I have a lot of scarves like this. And anyway, just wanted to give you all some ideas. Knowing that it's fall now, it's time to bring these things out. Let me go ahead and try to finish out the chat. Just want to make sure there's nobody I'm missing here. And Stephanie says, some feats of science are scary. I pray about it because I wonder if God really wants us to do so much of it. Well, I don't know. I think, no, that's a good question, Stephanie. That'd be a good philosophical question to talk about. He certainly is the one, whether people acknowledge it or not, he is the one who is giving these people the abilities to do this. We know that. He is definitely a great creator himself, but yeah, I don't know. That's a great philosophical question to talk about. Um, and the bee lady wants to know, do you know which yarns have the tighter twist she is talking about? Um, that's a good question. I think what you need to do is go shopping and then just look at. I think if you just even just go to Michael's or Joann's or whatever yarn store you have, um, if you go to I'm looking at this yarn right here. I'm looking at this yarn, the sock yarn that I got from an indie dyer who's local. This has a very good twist to it. You can just look at it and see that it's nice and tight. And I would just go to the yarn store and let the fingers do the walking, like the old phone book ad, and just pay attention to that as you look at the different yarns. I was at Michael's yesterday. All the Christmas stuff is there in full force, um, which for a crafter, that's a good thing because we need to start thinking about that now rather than later if we're going to make anything for gifts. But I did notice that there is a Lion brand acrylic cotton blend. I forget the name of the yarn, but I noticed that's the one thing I noticed about it is that the twist was very tight on it, and it felt really soft. So that would probably be a good candidate. But the type of yarns I'm talking about. I'll tell you one that's not good as far as the twist. Now I've used this yarn. I don't use it anymore. I don't use it very much, but the Caron Simply Soft, one way to get the yarn really soft is to not have a tight twist, to have a loose twist. There was another yarn that I used for um, for the nursing mom's shawl, and it was a bamboo rayon blend. Wonderful yarn as far as the feel and the blend, but the twist was so loose on it that it was just difficult even to crochet with. I will not use that yarn again because of that. So I would just again go to the store and just think about that. Pay attention to it as you touch and look at the different yarns. Yeah, I, and I'll be thinking about specific ones, but you just may have to you know, just make that something that you observe as you go shopping. I wouldn't have known to pay attention to that, except that I've read some yarn books and have learned some of this stuff from others in that way. Um, and Cynthia wants to know, do I use acrylic yarn at all? Absolutely. This all my throws they're usually 100% acrylic. I find that works really well. I've again having had 5 children in a family, which means a lot of people and talking teenagers putting it over themselves and their feet, can be kind of um, needing to be washed often. So whenever an item is needing to be washed a lot, I want to pick a yarn that's going to be able to withstand that. So the acrylics I use, a lot of that is, paint box yarn is one of my favorites. I've used many other types as well. Yeah, I definitely do. Baby blankets is a great use of acrylic yarn because again, it needs to be something that can go in the washer, in the dryer, in the washer, in the dryer, in the washer, in the dryer, and still survive somehow. Absolutely. I save the nicer yarns for things for people like me, or others who really appreciate the finer types of wool or finer types of a fiber, and who will have the knowledge to take care of it. Like, I'm not going to put my alpaca poncho and go roll around in the grass outside, like a kid would do. I would make a kid's poncho out of acrylic so I can take it off, wash it, put it in the dryer, and take care of it in that way. um yeah. So, and Freaky Geek said, I blended and spun some fibers last week, now using that to knit socks. Wow, you're pretty amazing. um I have to resist getting into spinning because I know that would be a whole nother time hole for me. But I love to sit back and admire what other people do. Um, and Barbara says, thanks for the yarn ideas. I make slippers every fall. The heel wears out, so I will try slipper anti-slip fabric. Yeah, good idea. Or what you could even do is they have like, maybe get like a leather or a faux leather or faux suede kind of a bottom to the slipper, and then crochet around it, if that makes sense. I don't know if you would like that design or not, Barbara, but I know you're amazing with the hook, so you can do a lot. Um, all right. We have Ruth Maxwell. So that's a new name to me. Says, love your channel. Crochet cables are flying off my hook. Thanks to you. Love from Southern Ireland. Oh, Ruth. I want to go back. I want to go back to Ireland. Your country has inspired me so much. Was there in 2012, and I just want to rent a house on the Aran Isle somewhere and just camp out, or even along the coast there on the southern part. Yes. Loved, loved, loved being in that part of the world. Ah, Lynn says, to everyone who lives in the country and see the stars shine at night, smile at them for me. I can't see the stars because of all the city light. You are truly blessed. Oh wow, yeah, it is nice. And Estela Rodriguez says, is that the one that was launched in the Gulf of Mexico? Because if it is, it was awesome. Yes, it was. It was, Estela. And yeah, I did see a video. A lot of people from Mexico were able to see it because they are right on the border with Mexico and the US, where they have the headquarters, where they launch a lot of these, where they have been having the Starship launch. I forget the name of the it's in Boca Chica. Yeah, Boca Chica, Texas. It's right there, smack on the border, just across the river from Mexico. And okay. And Stephanie said, I just bought my home in the country and it's wide open sky. So that may be why my connection is better with Starlink than fiber. Oh, yeah, that would definitely be a good thing to do. And Ekstrom says to Amy Smith, linen or flax is even stiffer than washcloth cotton. Ew. Yeah. And Amy had, I'm going a little bit backwards here in the group chat. Hi, it says Amy Smith. Hi, I have a yarn question for 2025. I'd like to learn Tunisian crochet, then do a placemat project for Christmas. I'd like to use a stiffer type yarn, assuming cotton. Suggestions for this yarn type? Yeah, that's a good question. Tunisian crochet. A friend of mine, Brenda Berg, spelled Bourg, is my point to person for Tunisian. Um, she has a great book on that. I would, look online for patterns. I don't do Tunisian, at least not as a designer, at least not yet. Um, as far as stiff type of yarn, yeah, Ekstrom is right. Yeah, flax is going to be very stiff to work with. Maybe a lightweight cotton would be good too. Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. I would use thin yarn if you're gonna do Tunisian crochet, because Tunisian's gonna create a rather thick fabric for you, because you go back and forth with each row, making 2 passes. Let me just see if there's anybody I haven't seen yet. Beach Girl, so glad to have you in the chat with us, and Carol,
Just I'm trying to teach a teen to crochet, and I'm so grateful for what you've taught me, Bunny. Oh, thank you, Carol. I love, 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 love teaching others. Um, all right. Well, let me go ahead. And Jet One in says, yes, I definitely need recommendations for yarn that'll hold up over time to washing. Yeah. And Stephanie says, I use the hot glue gun to make it non-slip at the bottoms. That's an idea. I've also heard of people using the puffy paint kind of thing to do the same thing if you're afraid to use the hot glue gun because if you're using acrylic, I don't know if you had trouble with the yarn melting with that. I guess glue guns are kind of a low heat too, but yeah. And Brad's mom says, I've been doing laundry and washing blinds and windows while I listen. Oh, you're supposed to wash windows and blinds? I guess I need to do that too. I just want to let all those know who have had surgery or are dealing with serious illness that you are in my prayers. Thank you, Linda. That is so kind of you. And when I ask, when people tell me to pray for them, I do write you down just to let you know. I do pray for you all, and I would love to hear updates. And we have, is it Araceli? If I'm saying it right, Ortiz. I know the Ortiz part is new here from Texas, and yes, I am on the border. Excellent. Well, you're so welcome here. Um, and thank you, Amy and Lynn. Um, wow. And Kim W says, I'm having surgery on the 30th. Well, Kim, I will write you down too. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I've gone over time here. I have a date in a few minutes with my son Hudson. Sorry, Molly, he's mine today. No, my son who is at home with us. We have a lunch date today for Taco Bell. Yes, I'm a Taco Bell fan. Don't judge me. My kids love Taco Bell, and so do I. So, but I wanted to read you a super encouraging song. We sang this on Sunday, and I love love the words to this, and I hope this encourages you. This is out of the Trinity hymnal. It's a Christian song, a hymn, and even if you're not a Christian, you are so welcome here, so welcome here. I mean, that's not a requirement of mine. I just want people to understand that. But I do like to give Christian encouragement, just to encourage everybody. Um, just especially if you're having a hard time out there and things aren't going right. And like a friend of ours in the chat earlier was saying that you try to do everything right, but you just keep being opposed. You just keep feeling the pushback. Well, we understand that. There are a lot of things I could talk about here, but I choose not to because we talk about positive things, but we all carry things that we don't necessarily cover or talk about here, but I'm hoping that this song will help you. This is an old song. It's written by a man named Edward Mote in 1834. And what's amazing is what he wrote almost 200 years ago still holds true today. Probably even more so. And it's based on the verse, no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. That's from 1 Corinthians 3:11. And it's called My Hope is Built on Nothing Less. So I want to read all four stanzas to you and just hope it really blesses you all. I need to hear this, so I'm reading it for me too. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ, the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. When darkness veils his lovely face, I rest on his unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. His oath, his covenant, his blood support me in the whelming flood. When all around my soul gives way, he then is all my hope and stay. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. When he shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in him be found, dressed in his righteousness alone, faultless to stand before the throne. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. Well, I hope you all are encouraged by that. Just again, the hope is in him, not in us. And that is so, so releasing for me. Have a wonderful week. And I hope, see, what are we doing next week? I hope to be here next Friday. God bless. Bye bye.